What's up, guys? In this video, I'll be recapping everything from CFB Week 2 and just all my thoughts and comments about the games and like the position college football is in from this past week. And yeah, let's get into it. The first game I have for Week 2 is number 10 Notre Dame at NC State. So Notre Dame scored 45. Sam Hartman is a Heisman contender. Offense is clicking on all cylinders. They're looking great, and this is going to be a tough offense for the Ohio State defense in a couple weeks. And I think that's going to be a huge game, like top 10 matchup for sure. The defense for Notre Dame gave up 24 to like a not the best, I'd say, NC State team. They're definitely going to play better, but still they won by like 21 points. And I just think this team is going to be difficult for every next team they play. My next game is number 12 Utah at Baylor. So I like when watching this one. This was Baylor had it like with a minute 30, and then they threw a pick on their own side of the field. It was like at the 35, and Utah came in there and was able to get the touchdown, made it 20-13, and then Utah in prevent, Baylor threw up a crazy ball. It got caught, and they were like at the 20, and then there was like a controversial call, I guess, where some people say it's PI, some say it wasn't, but it didn't get called. But if it did get called, everyone would be complaining that it's always the refs choosing the games who wins. But then if it isn't, then they're saying, oh, the ref got paid to do that. So really, I don't care. I say don't call it because it already happens enough where they call it, and it wasn't that crazy. He had a chance to come down with the ball. Overall, Utah's playing like a tough out-of-conference schedule. They played Florida, Baylor, and they won both of them, so this is going to be a solid team as well. And if Baylor plays like this every week, besides like the last 5 minutes of the game, then they can win like 8-9 games. Just they need to play like this besides last 5 minutes, and that's going to be a really solid team because they're probably maybe the Pac-12 champion, maybe not. They brought them down to the wire. The next game I have is number 22 Colorado versus Nebraska. It was 36-14. Colorado in their own stadium. Like this is usually the game that decides how good these teams will be. And I think Nebraska is going to be bad again. And Colorado is going to be a solid team. And really, I think they're going to be like a scary team for every team they face, like USC, UCLA, Oregon. Like those are all upset watches in my opinion. And Deion Sanders really turned this program around. And overall, they had a slow start, but in the end, you see the score, it was not even close. The next game I have is number 5 Ohio State versus Youngstown State. I know this isn't like, it wasn't close against Youngstown State, it was an FCS game, but I want to talk about the QB situation because it's Ohio State, new QB, and it's kind of been big. So, Connor McCord and Devin Brown. Devin Brown might have had more snaps in that game, I don't remember. But he was like 7 for 13, 100 yards. But then McCord was like 250 yards, like 70 completion percentage, 3 touchdowns. He was looking great, no picks, and he ran for maybe like 3 yards. But I think McCord's the starter, and when I made this video, they did make McCord the starter as well. But now that was just obvious. I think McCord's definitely the one that's more ready for it, and I think he'll be solid. more game experience, and the Western Kentucky game will give him more experience. The biggest one, though, will be Notre Dame. Win or lose, actually, if they lose, he'll learn more, and I think he'll just become a way better player in the following weeks, no matter the results. And I'm not too nervous for this QB situation unless like McCord starts like looking awful against Western Kentucky, and then versus Notre Dame, if he looks like absolute trash, then there's going to be some concern. Next, I have 20 Ole Miss at Tulane. I actually, in my college football pick'em, that was my upset game, and it actually lasted for like 3 quarters, but then Tulane like fell apart. So Ole Miss was at Tulane, scored 37-20, and Ole Miss was like down 17-7, and then Tulane just did nothing. They weren't capitalizing. They were having flags, and then they only ended up scoring 3 while they let Ole Miss score 30. And overall, Tulane is a solid team, but they need to finish them because they played good 3 quarters, maybe 2.5 quarters, and then they just stopped working. The motor stopped churning. I really thought like the score 37-20 doesn't look that close, but it was way closer when you actually watch the full game. Next, I have Miami versus Texas A&M. So this was a surprise by everyone. So A&M was ranked 23. I think A&M is one of the most overrated teams in college football. They were like ranked 6 or something last year, and then they lose to App State. Okay? A&M, Jimbo Fisher needs to be fired. I know everyone says that. It's like cliche, but actually, he doesn't have any heart. When you watch him, he doesn't care that much, it seems like. He doesn't have that passion. And he's losing 48-33. I know it's Miami. They were at Miami. But he's looking like trash. He's not a good coach. The buy's going to be crazy, like $70 million. $70 million to pay off this guy? But their boosters will do it, because A&M's like one of the richest schools in America. We just A&M, and then we're making excuses that Miami was cheating by some signal thing. Like, okay, like I don't really see it. I was watching that game live, but man, A&M really needs like a change. They need like their culture fixed, their coach, like everything, man. Now I have 17 North Carolina versus App State. So last year it was a great game. Like North Carolina barely won. They like got a Hail Mary, I think, in one. And now it's at North Carolina. So it was 40-34. North Carolina started off good, beating South Carolina. I thought North Carolina would win, but so many people thought it would be South Carolina. North Carolina won that, but then they barely beat App State. But App State is a solid team. They're a solid Group of 5 team. They're one of the better ones, and they showed it there. Wish the upset did happen, to be honest, just for the fun of it, because App State's known for that. But yeah, Drake May looked fine. The defense needs to play a bit better, because offense scoring 40 is fine, but giving up 34 to App State, what happens if you're playing like anybody on this list, like that's ranked, Oregon or Ohio State or Notre Dame? They'll probably be scoring 50-60 on you if that's how the defense plays again. Next, I have 13 Oregon at Texas Tech. The score was 38-30, so I thought like Oregon would breeze through, because like I think Texas Tech lost an easy game. I forgot which one it was, but anyway, Oregon had a slow start, just like Colorado did, but Texas Tech had some crucial mistakes, like they threw a pick six in the end, which got Oregon up from 31-30 to 38-30. So really, a bunch of mental errors by Texas Tech caused them to lose this game. Oregon didn't bring their best game for sure. They did not look very good. I think they'll bounce back, but they better not play like this against some of the better teams they play, and they can't play like that against Colorado for sure, even though it's at Austin Stadium. Now, the game of the week. Rank 11 Texas played at Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Attendance was high. It was crazy. This was a great game. I have to say though, Texas did miss, it felt like Texas was winning more than just 34-24, to be honest. They, Alabama would get picked off, they only get 3, or they just end up punting it after they get 4 stops and they don't do anything. But then as soon as Alabama scored, Alabama gets a lead, bam, Texas just scores in 30 seconds. It definitely didn't feel like it was 30-24. It felt more like if it would be 34, it didn't feel like a 10-point game. It felt more like it'd be a 21-point game because of how dominating Texas looked for the most part, but then they wouldn't capitalize. Alabama, as the time I'm filming right now, Alabama is changing their QB. I think it's going to be Tyler Buckner from Notre Dame last year, and we'll see how he does, because Jalen Milroe can run, but he's not the best passer. He's not a good decision maker. And really, Texas isn't a playoff contender, but they do need to capitalize on some of these mistakes. And Alabama, from what they look like, unless Tyler Buckner can fix things, they're probably losing 2 or 3 games. I know some people think that's crazy, and it could get cooked, but Alabama does not look the same. And really, I don't think they're a playoff contender because Notre Dame would really bring them down to the wire. Utah would. Colorado would be interesting. Ohio State would. Ole Miss, we'll see that. Texas A&M, I don't know, that might be an upset. Oregon for sure. A lot of teams, but I'm doubtful against Alabama because it's not the same as before where I'm yeah, Alabama wins. Now it's will they win? Okay, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below your thoughts on these games, and I'll be making another one next week. I'll be doing this every week basically. And yeah, subscribe, and I'll be back with another video.